Welcome back to Inspired Forward, everyone. My name is Dan Trinidad. I'm excited to talk today with Michael Griffiths from Sydney, Australia. I'm really excited to hear his story. As the founder of Referral Marketing Guru, they provide the #1 referral marketing training around the globe for coaches, consultants, and professional service businesses. He's built 7 businesses and sold 6 of them, all through referrals, networks, and partnerships. They now show people how they too can have their own $1 million referral system. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Dan. Great to be with you and great to be with your audience.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I've never had anybody on my show from Sydney, Australia, as they're sitting in Sydney, Australia. So it's pretty cool. I love the technology that allows us to do this.
Yeah, so true. We're so connected these days, which is one of the wonderful things in the world that we live in.
Yeah. So let's start this conversation by maybe giving us all a little bit of your background. You starting maybe in, before you started your company, maybe tell us your story about your businesses and your family life, and so we can get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. But so quick story because it could go forever. But teacher by trade. So went through university, Bachelor of Education to become a teacher, and really became a teacher because at the same time coached elite level basketball. So I've been lucky enough to be the assistant coach at 2 Olympic Games in 2000 and 2004. Coached over there at University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill for 3.5 years as an assistant coach. Worked in our national league teams over here. So really teaching allowed me the flexibility to have trainings before school and after school, etc. And that's what I always thought life would be. Get to teach the kids through the day, get to teach the adults as such in terms of our basketball teams, and life was pretty good. And about 2008, 2009, I just got back from the US and finished up at UNC and got offered University of Hawaii head coaching job. But at the same time, wife's mum got really ill and we're the only family, so back we came to Australia. Over that sort of next 9 months, I just got tired of the education system, not because of the kids, but because of the lazy teachers. It was just like, you are there simply to see out your day and your time and not there for the right reasons. And I remember someone saying to me, well, you've either got 40 more years of this or you need to go do something else.
You need to make a
so
change.
like, put up and shut up or go and do something else. So that's when we went, okay, it's time to go do something else. And I suppose education stroke teaching stroke training is what I've always known. I started coaching basketball when I was 10. So I sort of knew nothing else. And first business was a tutoring centre, an education centre where we provided tutors to people's homes. We grew that to nearly 500 families in a space of 9 months, and another organisation bought us out. We went into various products in terms of mineral makeups and health supplement products and jigsaw products, and then that led us into a marketing agency, which then led us into where we are now.
Into what kind of agency?
A marketing, so doing pretty much all, building your websites to SEO, to Google AdWords, to etc. I remember 2013 and just getting phone call after phone call. Why aren't I on the front page of Google? It's like, well, let me just phone Mr. Google and ask. We just don't have control over whether they're going to put you on the front page or not. So I just went, look, we've got to teach people how to be able to grow their businesses exactly how we're growing our business. And that's sort of where my passion always was, around people and human behavior and human psychology and just relationships in general. And that's sort of what's led us to where we are now. But I sort of just go, well, instead of teaching kids, we teach adults, and I don't sort of know which one's easier.
Wow. Well, which one is easier so far?
Yeah, I'm still not sure. It changes day in, day out.
Yeah, I love working with kids too. I coach baseball and or did coach baseball for many, many years, and I loved it. And I wish I could make a living, as a coach, a baseball coach, but that didn't work. So somehow I ended up in the mortgage industry. So tell me a little bit about your current company. I'm assuming that you built your previous companies off of the model you're now coaching and training on. Is that
Yeah, pretty much spot on. So I've got nothing against traditional marketing, your Facebook ads and pay-per-click and SEO and radio and TV and direct mail and all of that, no problems. I just sort of go, if you don't have to spend money on marketing, why would you? And for some people, they can't. They don't have a budget to spend money on marketing and they need different ways. And that's what I suppose I've always loved is we don't appreciate how much opportunity is actually already sitting on our table when we just use our networks more effectively and when we engage and we create our own referral sources and we look at how do we partner up with other people and share one another's networks and clients and etc. So it was through all of that.
Concept, huh? What a
Yeah,
concept.
correct. We just call it relationship marketing, and relationship marketing ain't anything new. It's been around for at least 50 plus years. And it's a thing that will never go because it doesn't rely on an algorithm, a widget, a platform. It's just people. And as long as there's always people somewhere, then relationship marketing will always take place. I sort of look, however, though, at how most people do it. They turn up to networking events and they hand out as many cards as they can, hoping that just because someone has my card, that will get me business. Or they turn up to these structured referral groups. And I want no problems with people going to them, but they go without a plan. They just going, well, if I turn up every week or every month, they will remember me and therefore I will get business. Maybe, but more often not enough to be able to grow a business. So we just sort of went, well, let's just show people, put some simple structures and processes in place that people can then just simply use and tap into the resources they already have around them, the people they're already meeting, the relationships they already have. And sure enough, that can generate an awful lot of business when you just do some simple things with a plan.
Wow. So how do you go about getting your clients and getting them in your program?
Yeah, so for us, so we're very big on creating our own referral sources. So to create a referral source or a referral partner, it's just simply going, who else sells to the same people we sell to? And how do we form relationships with them where we might be able to share each other's networks? So we've got hundreds of those people all around the globe where we don't compete with one another. We can promote and share one another's networks, and then that drives people back into sort of our existence and into our CRM for us to be able to nurture and educate and show how we might be able to help. I think these days we still don't use social platforms anywhere near as strong as what we should be to be able to educate or drive people back into our business. And another big thing is around how do you get yourself leveraged exposure? How do you speak at other people's events or be on other people's podcasts or webinars? Or there's so much exposure that people could get, but we just don't think about it enough, or we just don't do it with a purpose. So therefore, it's all very sort of ad hoc, throwing mud at the wall, really doesn't stick. So yes, find other people who have the same clientele that you have, that you don't compete with one another, build relationships with those people, find ways to be able to actually help one another. That's a great starting point.
So for a loan officer in the mortgage business or a real estate agent, point them maybe in a direction.
Yeah, great. So if you take here a loan officer, I've been lucky enough to sort of speak at sort of 40, 50 odd real estate loan officer conferences over the last 2 years in the US. So I'm fairly familiar with the industry. They go, great, so who's my client? And you might go, great, my clientele are busy professionals. Perfect. So where else are those busy professionals spending money? They might be getting some sort of professional development work. They might be a particular cafe or restaurant, or they might be buying particular sorts of things. And once you understand where they're spending money, it's about going to those sorts of people that are providing those sorts of things and going, great, how might we be able to team up? And I think the big thing is getting outside the box, because most loan officers go, okay, so it could be a financial planner, and it could be a real estate agent,
Mhm.
and it might be some sort of attorney that does the housing contracts. Perfect, but that's what everyone else is going to find too. So think outside the box to, well, who else are those people spending money to? Is there a local gym? Do they, if we've got families as the target audience, go to the after school activities? Are there drama classes, music classes? Go team up with the Parent Citizen Association at the schools. There's so many different ways that we can tap into where our target audience is when we actually just think about those sorts of things outside the box of where else does my client spend money? Where else are they going? And it's amazing how many wonderful sort of partnerships we see get created, where they create it with the local fruit market, or they create it with the after school tutoring company, or they create it with the local baseball association, and just things which for most, if I just sort of take in your industry, they just don't go outside the box. They go, well, it has to be a financial planner, it has to be an accountant, it has to be a real estate agent. It's like, well, if you're all trying to do that, people are going to miss out because there's just not enough. So get outside the box to people who just don't normally get those sorts of opportunities, and you're amazed how exciting someone who doesn't ever get asked, hey, do you want to sort of team up and try to help grow each other's businesses? How exciting they get because someone gives them an opportunity to talk to them about that.
Yeah, so your clients are all over the world? So a lot in the United States? You have...
Yeah, no, clients all over the globe. We run this thing called Partnership Club, which is sort of our training program. So we run that throughout the US, throughout the UK, and throughout Australia and New Zealand. So there's sort of our three main, but we've got people who travel from other parts of the world, people from Canada who come to the US, and people throughout Europe that come to the UK. So yeah, lucky enough with technology, we can do this anywhere.
Yeah, very, very cool. So we didn't touch on your personal life at all. So are you married with children? Tell me a little bit about your family.
Yeah, so married, Kate, and little one Sophie turned 6 next week. So growing up very quickly, and we live, lucky enough that we live in Sydney, Manly Beach. So if you're not sure where Manly Beach is, Google that, because that will probably blow you away as it is, especially people who love the ocean. And yeah, I suppose we're just sort of lucky enough, and so to be lucky enough to sort of get on a plane 14 times a year internationally and see so many different things. And so it's nice to be able to have those sorts of experiences. And I just think traveling and seeing the world and seeing different cultures and talking to different people in different places just enriches your world in so many different ways. And even just back to the days of coaching at UNC, and we were sort of an hour out of UNC South in Fayetteville, which I had never heard of, exists because of the military. And just thinking the years that I taught there at that high school, and the experiences and what they went through, I just would never have imagined in my little bubble over here in Sydney. And that's what I suppose we really love with what SOF's already been able to experience, is just different ways that other people live that you don't get to see unless you get to sort of see it firsthand.
Oh, I've heard so many wonderful things about Australia. It's certainly on my bucket list to get over there, and I hope to get there really soon. So with all your businesses and your family, tell me a little bit how you manage, a relationship, being a good dad for the kids, and building your business.
Have an amazing team is the bottom line. So yeah, we've got an amazing team of 6 that pretty much take ownership of their area and their space, and they run the show. So one thing that I know from very early days was you can't do it all yourself. If you wear all the hats, it just is impossible. And therefore getting good people and looking after those people and making sure that they knew that they just was important within the organisation as the organisation was to me is probably the key. Because but I'm lucky enough that most days I'm done by 2:30, I go get Soph from school. That's it, me finished. Very rarely do I do things on a Friday. That's sort of just the day that nothing gets done. So team is important, and getting the right people and empowering them to own their area. So like one person's in charge of programs, one person's in charge of our sort of our marketing, one person's in charge of our relationships. So having individual people, not trying to give them too much, but just getting people who buy into the mission and the vision and what we're trying to create. It's all bigger than me. And I think when I know and empower them that it's their baby just as much as my baby, that's what makes this really nice.
And that sounds like that's probably your main job then, is overseeing the culture.
Very, very much so. I sort of go creating IP systems, structures, processes, improving those for both our client and program, as well as for the organization, is the number one hat that I should be wearing. And everyone else wears the other hats. And really, I just need to be there for if there is a problem. And I think that the mistake most make, and we had a chat about this last week with some of our guys, was at the very beginning when someone comes in, I'm with them non-stop for at least 6-7 weeks before they're off on their own. And for most organisations, they bring someone in and they go, well, there's the job description, off you go. And they might provide them with a few hours training. I go, well, there's no hope that they're going to ever be successful because we're not setting them up to be successful. And that's probably one thing which I love our team. And our team just don't leave, probably because of the way they start with us. And we've got a new one who's literally 4 or 5 days in at the moment. And you can just see they've never been happier just because they know we care about them, which means they're going to care about us. And we're one big family, and we talk about that all the time, that we're a big family. Our clients are a big family with us, and that's how I just see it. We're just one big family.
That sounds great. I mean, that's how you build a successful company, is getting people that share the same vision and passion for your customers as you do. So, who does your training and your coaching?
We do have a coach, but in terms of the training, that's my baby. I can't give that up. I have too much fun with that. We've just come off intensive, so we're in LA 2 weeks ago with our US guys, and then the end of last week in Sydney with our Australian New Zealand guys. And yeah, 2 days, and at the end of the 2 days, I'm absolutely stuffed, but that's the fun. I just love being with our guys, and we just love seeing the opportunities they're creating and building the systems. And so I don't know if I can ever give that up because I have too much fun with it.
That's what you love. So your training is actually live and in person. You go to your customer and work with their team.
Yeah, so a mixture of both. So we get together every 90 days live for our intensives. And then on a weekly basis, we've got stuff that's happening online, again, live online trainings, and there's a whole bunch of things for people to follow through in portals and so forth. So a nice combination of both.
Wow, very cool. See, with all your traveling, do you have time to travel for fun?
The nice thing is we always do both. So if we're going to be in LA for an intensive, then it's great. Where else do we want to go? What else do we want to see? And we do things beforehand or afterwards. And yeah, we're always creating experiences around having to be at different places. So that's sort of the nice thing. I remember at the end of each sort of 28th of December, we sit around the table and we do goals. And it must have been 18 months ago. And so now sort of 4.5. I think I might create a goal. Great. What's one of your goals? I think I want to go and see every Disneyland before I'm 6. And that was her goal. And it was just like, so we had one to knock off, and we just went, okay, great. So before intensive in LA, we needed to stop off in Japan, which was the last one we had to knock off. And so we just do it. We create experiences around around our work. And I think that's nice. There's never just work and play. It's always work and play.
Wow, that sounds so much fun. All the Disney, how many Disneylands are there?
6.
6, and so you hit them all.
She's done them all.
Oh, lucky little girl. That's funny. That's great. So what's next for you? What are your risks, and how do you prepare for all the change that's taking place in this world of ours, and plan for the future?
Yeah, and I think if I was to look on it, and I do look on it, and unlike, I suppose, other types of industries which go through, as you guys did in 2008 and 2009 with global recessions and things like that, we don't really have that. We are able to help a whole range of businesses, and as long as there are humans, so I think our only risk is if the human population disappeared, well, we wouldn't be here either, so it wouldn't matter. So there isn't a lot of risk. I think probably our risk is always just doing what we love and being cutting edge and continuing to make it fun. That's just not allowing it to be stale. And I think while we continue sort of in this, where at the moment, sort of the last month, we've offered a whole bunch of new around attraction and behavior strategies, and we just look at that sort of stuff and go, it's so fascinating. Now, how do we bring that into some of our engagement plans? How can we start conversations with that? How can we use that sort of stuff when we go to networking events? And that's, I suppose, the thing that I love is I take different elements of other things that have got really nothing to do with this, but I go, how do we make that something in terms of what we're already doing? And I think as long as that is fun, then we'll always sort of stay cutting edge and have a whole bunch of easy ways for people to be able to generate more leads into their leads buckets through relationships. Yeah.
So how long have you had Referral Marketing Guru?
Since 2013. So we're sort of halfway through 2013. It's funny, actually, it was started literally 3 weeks before Soph was born. So that's why I know pretty much the exact date, June 2013. So yeah, coming up now to a good sort of 5-6 years.
Yeah, congratulations. That is so awesome. So I want to get a little bit back to Australia a little bit, because I'm pleasantly surprised that's where you're from. Are you a diver? Do you I mean, tell me a little bit about visiting there.
Yeah, but I suppose in a way it's funny, especially, and I apologise to all your listeners there in the US, but the perception in terms of what US people know through media is just chalk and cheese to really what it's like. It really, you take Sydney. Sydney is no different to San Francisco. Sure, there's a few million people less, but in terms of what Sydney's like and San Francisco's like, it's pretty much the same. And in fact, probably San Diego would probably be what I would call Sydney. Same sort of population, both on the water. You've got your suburbs outside of the city. It's pretty much the same. So you've got your capital cities in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne on the east coast. And then you've got Adelaide, which is sort of much smaller, Perth over on the west coast, Darwin. So for most people, they stay east coast. That's where it's mainly populated. I suppose really the only difference is it's just smaller. And so that's why I love flying into LA. The whole of LA type of thing fits into the whole of Australia in terms of population. But yeah, cities are the same, suburbs are the same, do pretty much exactly the same sorts of things.
Do you notice a difference in the people?
I think we're more multicultural, and I think that's the Asian effect more than anything. That is closer to get to us from Asia than it is to the US. So I think we're probably a bit more multicultural. Otherwise, it's similar, and it's no different. There's pockets. So I've always said there are parts of like New York, Chicago, San Francisco is no different to living in Sydney. It's like hustle, bustle. Things are always on the go. It's always what's next. It's that sort of energy. So that doesn't change. You get out into the country areas and that's no different to being in your country areas. So we don't have kangaroos going down the street or drop bears falling out of trees. They're nice things to be able to say to US people, but they're not true. So yeah, there really isn't much of a difference. In terms of, look, and even in terms of the beaches and there are places like that in the US. Just most people in the US don't travel an awful lot, so they probably haven't seen them. Like I look at Laguna Beach down there in Southern California and go, well, that's very similar to Amelie Beach. But for most people, they've never been to Laguna Beach, so they wouldn't know that. You take close to where you are in Lake Tahoe, and we've got some unbelievable sort of mountains and areas. But if someone in the US hasn't been to Lake Tahoe or seen something like that, then they'd come to Australia and go, wow, the Blue Mountains are just absolutely amazing. So it's much of a muchness. I think it's very much just around how worldly or how traveled you are to then be able to sort of compare apples with apples.
Yeah, well, you guys have a cool accent. I know that.
Yeah.
You don't have that. Well, Michael, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, probably the easiest way is just going to Michael Griffiths and sort of names up there. So just Michael, Michael, Griffiths, GRIFFITHS.com.au, because we're Australia. So .com.au. And that's the easiest way. You'll find our social links. There's some good guides on there, some good videos on there. So pretty much anyone that's looking at even just connecting, perfect. But growing their things through referrals, well, there's lots of good free stuff on there for people to be able to grab also. So that's just
awesome.
michaelgriffiths.com.au.
michaelgriffiths.com. You're going to hear from me. I really appreciate your time today, and I know it's early in the morning for you in Australia. It's late in the afternoon while I'm here, so you're a day ahead. Well, thank you, Michael. I really appreciate your time and meeting you, and I will be in touch with you soon.
Absolute pleasure, Dan. Thank you, and look forward to catching up shortly.
Great. Thanks, Michael. Bye-bye.
Bye.